Yo, this is Terrance Gaines, aka Brother Tech,
And this is Nica Montford, aka Tech Savvy Diva.
and we are back. Welcome back to the snobOS show, the show for Apple snobs, where we talk all things Apple and then some. We want to thank you for joining another episode. This is episode 206 of the snobOS show. So we definitely want to say thank you for hanging in for so long. We definitely just wrapped our pre-show version where we do live and we do exclusive content. So if you are a part of the snobist community, which is what we affectionately call our Patreon supporters, you are watching this live, so you're getting a little bit earlier and you're getting some additional content that you will not hear on this actual episode. So if you do want to be a Patreon supporter, definitely go to patreon.com/snobOScast. Give us a little dollars and you get a little extra content in return. So we definitely want to say thank you again. And we're going to get right into this week's show. We always start with the lowdown where we talk all things Apple. And it seems like Apple cannot get away from all of these bugs and security exploits. And I was just doing a little bit of research and I found out via this Wired story that there's a new special bug that if it's exploited, the same kind of trope, but this seems kind of a little different. If exploited, would allow an attacker to access people's messages, photos, and call history. So this is a little bit different than a hacker being able to take control of your phone or take control of your computer or whatever and possibly try to get information. This exploit seems to actually be able to pull photos, messages, and call history. So just read a little bit about this story. Researchers from a security firm, Trellix Advanced Research Center, are today publishing details of a bug that could allow criminal attackers to break out of Apple's security protection, and run their own unauthorized code. The team says the security flaws they found, which they rank as medium to high severity, bypass protections Apple had put in place to protect users. And I do read this quote from one of the directors. The key thing here is vulnerabilities break Apple's security model at a fundamental level, says Doug McKee, director of vulnerability research at Trellix. McKee says that finding the new bug class means researchers and Apple will potentially be able to find more similar bugs and improve overall security protections. Apple has fixed the bugs the company found, and there are no evidence that they have been exploited. So I really just wanted to put that out there. There's really no major risk right now, because it seems like Apple has patched it, but I just wanted to highlight this story to kind of highlight that it seems like, maybe I'm tripping, but it seems like either hackers or ethical, whether it be ethical hackers, white hacks,
Hat.
white hat. That's what they
Yeah.
call them. White hack is the ethical hackers that kind of break in or try to find vulnerabilities in hopes that they can work with companies like Apple to patch the exploits so us consumers are not under attack. And then, of course, there is the red hat or the black hat. I don't know which one is. Is there? I
I
know
think
there's
it's
red
black. I
hat.
think it's black hat.
Black
There
hat
are
are the
red.
one.
There are red. Yeah, there are red hats as well, but I
Hmm.
think it's black hat are the bad ones.
Okay, black hats are the bad guys. They're the
I
ones that are trying to
think
get your data. So
if you
all
black
that to
hat,
say,
you not. Yeah.
yeah, all that to say, I wanted to put that out there to see if are we noticing an uptick in people trying to hack or exploit Apple products, or are we just reading about it more because tech journalists, websites are focusing on it more?
I honestly think that it is more of these black hat hackers or just people, you know, the criminal element, because I don't know what has happened in the last maybe week or so on my iPhone in particular. Like most of the time when you get kind of like spam or these, emails, phishing emails, I've been getting so many more of them coming into my regular inbox instead of going straight to my junk. And I'm getting more of them in my text messages. So I don't know if my email address and my phone number got sold to someone, to this new group, or this
Hmm.
someone else has it, because it's just been like last night I got like four like back to back. And in my email, I'm just seeing all these like junk and spam and phishing emails coming into my main inbox rather than going straight to junk. So I don't know. It's something weird going on. I was like looking, I was like, what is going on? I was like, someone must have sold my phone number and email address, because it's just amazing how it all just started flooding in around the same time. But I just really think people are, you mentioned inflation earlier and how expensive things are. I just think people are more, they're trying to find ways to find money and not have to work for it. So it's like it seems to me that there has been an uptick in the criminal element of hacking or phishing and those types of things. That's what it seems like to me. It's good that we do have these research companies that are doing this type of work, because it does help the consumer base overall. And it's good that they caught this. And I want to say, when we talked about last week when they did the updates, it was fixing some security and I think WebKit
Exploits.
vulnerabilities as well. So it's really great when these things are found and fixed expeditiously, ST I would say, to protect the consumer. But it's one of those things. Like I was at home this past weekend, and my aunt was trying to do something on Facebook or something, and she clicked this button, and she was like, "What's that?" I was like, "You just clicked a bad link." I was like, "Slow down and look at what you're doing, and not just click the first thing that pops up on your screen. Pay attention before you do that." So it's just really easy for people to get caught up in it, because it kind of looks official, or they're just rushing through trying to get something. It's like, "Oh, let me just click this to get out of my way," not realizing that you are, going into the wormhole. So I
And
I
I'll say that happens all the time when I'm
mhm,
trying to help somebody with something, trying to walk them through something, and I'm not sitting next to them.
mm,
I'm like, all right, on the next screen, you'll see, and they'd be like, oh, I clicked OK. I'm like, no, I
no.
wanted you to click select. I'm like, all right, so go back to the next screen, the previous screen rather, and click select. And then I want you to choose this. All right. And they click that. I'm like, all right, go to the next screen. And I want you to, before you look at, oh, I already clicked yes. I'm like, I didn't want you to do that yet.
Yeah.
I wanted you to tell me, so I can see how easy it is, especially for, if you get an email. There are some people that believe that
Mhm.
if I just get an email, that means it's legit. I can click on it. If I get an email from my bank, or if I get a text message, I've seen a
Mhm.
lot of
Yeah.
the text messages that, like, we DHL, right? Quote unquote
Mhm.
DHL, the delivery service, will be like, yeah, we delivered it, but nobody's there, so we took it back. Click here to update your whatever information. I'm like,
Mhm.
do not do that.
That.
If just a little tip, if you are suspecting that you're getting an email from your bank, or a delivery that you're waiting on, or whatever the case may be, and you don't trust it, go to the website
Go
itself
directly. Yep.
and then enter your shipping, tracking, whatever the case may be, and see if it's legit. I very rarely click on anything from my email nowadays, just
Yeah.
because it's like, I don't have time to be sitting here trying to research and look at the email and look at the
'Cause they're
address and
very
then look at,
crafty now.
right.
They are very crafty.
I just look at my email as a notification, and then
Mhm.
I go to the actual website or whatever. So, yeah, definitely there's more stuff out there. I can definitely tell from the amount of Apple updates that Apple is putting out that they are trying to patch a lot of things. We did a story, last year sometime, about Apple that was supposed to be actually supposedly running or releasing a type of update that is a security specific update that really is not directly correlated to an iOS update, because most of the time we get updates is iOS 16 dot this dot that whatever case may be. We did a story to where it seems like Apple was going to put out a different type of update that was specifically security based, that was easier, more streamlined, therefore would encourage more people to update, versus putting out a whole iOS release. So I have to follow up on that and see if they will actually roll that out a little bit faster. Now we're starting to see all of these security exploits that Apple's got to repeatedly actually try to patch on a regular basis.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna move on to the next story. It seems like the Apple Watch, for all of the false alarms that it's sending. We talked about this before about people on the ski slopes. The not the help desk, but the
Emergency.
dispatch.
Yeah.
Yeah, the dispatch people are upset at Apple for getting all of these crash detection false alarms because people on the ski slopes doing something crazy. We talk about all the things that Apple has to look out for, but it seems like juxtapose that to I read a story to where a man is actually saved because his Apple Watch detected internal bleeding.
Mm.
It sounds crazy, but basically, he was this guy that was asleep. He was getting these notifications from his Apple Watch, and the Apple Watch sent him at least 10 notifications that his heart was beating faster than it should. The guy
Mm.
paid attention to it. He called his doctor. He told his doctor what was going on. His doctor told him to open up his Apple Watch and check his blood oxygen level, which is what one of the Apple Watches can do. If you hold your finger on the crown and hold it there, it can get your oxygen level, check a couple other things. The doctor was freaked out enough to where the doctor called 911. He went to the doctor. Severe internal bleeding, according to this Reddit. He said, I had a little over 3 GDL. I have no idea what that is.
Mhm.
Hemoglobin. And my normal is about 15. So he went from
Wow.
15 down to 3. EMS originally said it was a heart attack, but it was GI bleeding, which is a
Your gut.
gestural, yeah,
Yeah.
gestational something or the other. GI
Intestinal.
bleeding, which is
Yeah.
internal bleeding. They said, had I not got there for a transfusion when I did, I'd not have made it. So he says, going to thanks the nurses, thanks the doctor, and of course, he thanks his Apple Watch. So I just wanted to put that story out there that we everybody always reports the bad news when it comes to new technology, right?
Mm.
But I just want to put this out there that this Apple Watch, I'd say, is one of the few pieces of technology out there that you can actually report on and say that had I not had it, I may not be here on
Right.
multiple occasions, right? So we definitely wanted to, shout that out. That's definitely a feature that is used. And my wife, she's I call her scary, but she does have some slight pre-existing conditions
Mhm.
to where she frequently uses the not blood pressure, but heart rate monitor.
Mhm.
She uses the blood oxygen level thing because on top of her having some pre-existing conditions, she is a little bit scary. So she's on that stuff. So I got to make sure, she has the most up-to-date Apple Watch because she does check that stuff for a good reason,
Yeah.
and also because that's who she is. So it's definitely handy to have that extra layer of protection. Now, again, it's not the cure-all, right? It's not going to be 100% foolproof, but that does give you additional information that you can then use to decide whether if this is important or it ain't.
And
And in
I'll
these
also
cases,
say
go ahead.
oh, no, I was just say I'll also pay attention when you get the alert that says like some health is trending different because it
Hmm.
does keep, account of things how they are over one day, 1 week or whatever. And that's something that I've been paying attention to lately is when I get the alert that says your trend has changed. I'm like, oh, let me go see what's
Hmm.
changed. Is my heart rate, is my blood ox, pulse, what has changed that I need to be aware of? And that kind of helps you when you go to your doctor for your annual checkups or whatever. It's just another tool in your toolbox, especially as it relates to your health.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So speaking of, things actually, Apple doing some additional settings and things. It looks like Apple is getting closer to being able to measure your blood glucose monitoring. That was a story in Bloomberg. Again, this is, I don't want to say it's a rumor, but it seems like this is one of the things that a lot of people are looking forward to the Apple Watch eventually doing, being able to
So much so,
check.
this was one of my predictions, I think, for last year.
Okay. Yep. 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 According to the story in Bloomberg, company hits a major milestone in creating blood glucose monitor. Apple disguised work behind a secretive healthcare startup. So basically, what they did is they have this special little startup that is actually working on this. When in actuality, is actually Apple working on this secret endeavor dubbed E5 is to measure how much glucose is in someone's body without needing to prick the skin for blood. So you think of traditional. I don't have diabetes or anything like that, but I know people who have it, and
Hmm.
there's the light version to where they just got to check their readings, and then there's the severe version to where I know people got
The pumps.
the pumps. Yeah, actually on there. So there's the again, correct me if I'm wrong, but there's light people to where they have to prick their finger. I've seen the better ones to where people like have the patch on their arm that actually is what's the word, pricks their skin, and then they
Oh yeah,
attach it to their.
finger stick.
Yeah, there used to be there's still the finger stick ones, right, which are kind of painful, and you got always got to do it, and you got to stick
Mhm.
it and put it on the little thing and get the readout. There are some advances to where people got the patch on their arm,
Yeah, the
and
little
that
thing
thing
that sticks
puncture.
into your skin.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
that's the one.
punctures your skin.
That's
Yeah,
the word I was looking for. It punctures your skin, and then it monitors that way, and then they take their phone
and
and they
hover
actually put
over
it up
it.
to the thing, and then they look at it and it gives them their readings, right? And then there's the severe version where you actually have to have an insulin pump connected to your person to where it
Hmm.
punches, it monitors your levels and
If it
gives
gets
you
too
the.
low, it gives you the
Yeah,
insulin
yeah,
injection you need.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So it sounds like just either pricking your fingers between, if you had to choose between pricking your fingers, having some sort of patch on your arm, versus wearing your Apple Watch, and your Apple Watch is detecting your glucose and giving you the ratings right then and there, and probably would even go as far as that to alert you as to when your
Hmm.
stuff is low, and then you can take necessary actions. I'm pretty sure most people would choose an Apple Watch. Again,
Yeah.
the problem between the Apple Watch is it doesn't prick your skin. With the glucose monitoring and the blood pressure, that was the other one. I think people really want Apple Watch to do, check your blood pressure.
Yeah,
The
so it
Apple
wouldn't
Watch,
replace the one that has the pump, but it could
no.
potentially replace the prick
And
and the puncture
yeah, yeah,
with the
right, right,
disc
right.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, the only problem with the Apple Watch is it doesn't prick your puncture your skin, and it doesn't squeeze your arm to get your actual blood pressure. So those are, seems like the two things that Apple has been working on, and it looks like they're getting closer to actually doing the blood glucose monitoring without pricking your skin. So it'll be definitely interesting to see how that works and if they're actually able to do it. And then, of course, they got to go through EPA. Well, not EPA. What's the other one? FDA, I would think.
FDA.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they had to go through the
Food Drug
FDA.
Administration. Yeah.
And then, of course, as people do, they won't look at it as this is just additional information. They'll be like, this is my monitor, and they'll take whatever they get on their watch as the Bible. And hopefully they won't do that, and actually just use it as, okay, if my Apple Watch is giving me alert that something's wrong, they'll do something else. Maybe they'll have to prick their finger if it's bad, or they'll
Hmm.
have to do another thing, or they'll call their doctor to confirm, versus it being, okay, well, if I'm not getting any sort of notifications, then I must be fine. So let me,
Hmm.
do whatever I need to do. I would hope it would, the Apple Watch would continue just to be a additional tool that you use in your toolbox as far as, checking your health. But, hope, of course, people will take it, and that'll be the end all be all, and then they'll run
Yeah.
into problems, and then
Yeah.
so hopefully they can get it right is what I'm trying to say, to where people can depend on it, but at the same time they're not totally dependent on it,
Yeah.
if that makes any sense.
Yep.
All right, let's see, going to the next story. I think the last one, no, yeah, that was the last one. I did
Yep.
the bugs, internal bleeding, and the glucose. All right, so that is it for the lowdown. We're going to go right into the our second string segment, where we talk all things tech in general. And it looks like WhatsApp is trying to match what is already out there as far as Apple and iMessages and the ability to edit messages, WhatsApp users are looking to be able to tap and hold on a chat bubble and select the edit option, similar to how we do in iMessage. According to the story that I read in Mac Rumors, WhatsApp is of course experimenting on this feature. Doesn't say when is going to come out, but they're thinking maybe, well, I'll just read the features. To edit a message, users will need to tap and hold on a chat bubble, select the edit option. WhatsApp users can expect to be able to edit a message for up to 15 minutes after sending it, which is the same duration, of course, that Apple uses for its iMessages. In contrast, Telegram, which is another messaging platform, gives users 48 hours to do their editing. Again, it doesn't say when it's rolling out, but that makes sense. I can see the lure to, other chat apps like WhatsApp, like Telegram, like Signal, like maybe even, I think Teams, you can do it. Yeah, on Teams you can actually edit messages from your device, but the more consumer facing ones, because who uses Teams for personal? If you do, bless your heart.
Right. Yeah,
But
I
yeah.
would call someone for a mental health check on that. That's kinda weird.
Yeah. So this seems like a good feature that other people, again, competition is good for the consumer. And
Yep.
if you are a heavy WhatsApp user, the ability to edit messages probably would be a good idea.
Yeah, I was trying to keep on par with this competition, so makes sense.
Yep. Speaking of other features that other platforms would like to use, I don't know if you've seen the recent Google Pixel commercials, and their main claim to fame on these Google Pixel, I don't know if it's the Pro or the regular ones, is
Mhm.
the ability to, if you take a picture and there's something in the background or a person in the background, you get those people that have no association with your group or your family, they kind of photobomb your picture. All the main features of these Google Pixel devices, the ability to circle the thing in the background and then get it out of the background, right? Of course, that was a feature, according to the commercials, specific to Google Pixel devices, but it looks like Google's making features like that, and the features, the ability to do additional editing through Google Photos. And you don't need a Google Pixel specifically to use Google Photos,
Hmm.
but you have to be a subscriber of I think they call it Google One. Google One is pretty much, yeah, Google
Um,
One is pretty much iCloud for Google. And if you pay for it costs I want to say, yeah, $2 for 100 gigs of storage. That's like the lowest barrier of entry. If you pay the $2 for 100 gigs of storage, you have to use Google Photos. So if you're an iPhone user that wants to be able to take advantage of this feature, which currently we don't have natively on our iPhones, in order to be able to do that, you got to be pay for at least 100 gigs of storage at $2 a month. Two, you have to use Google Photos. So you actually have to store your photos in Google's cloud. But if you do that, you'll get the ability to do a number of things, which more importantly, which more famously, you can actually, remove something from a background of a picture. In addition to that, you can enhance content, create art with photo features like Magic Eraser, HDR, video effect, and collage styles. But again, like I mentioned, if you do want to take advantage of that photo bombing feature, or not necessarily photo bombing feature, you've seen pictures to where you got a boyfriend, you got a boo, you got a bae, whatever they're calling them nowadays,
you
and
wanna get
y'all,
rid of out of your photo, it's like,
yeah,
"Swipe, swipe."
yeah. I can see this being a benefit for you, for the young folks out there that are in the dating scene, and for whatever reason, their fault, your fault, you're changing partners, but you like that picture, you just don't like the person in the picture. You do have a feature now for an iPhone to actually do that. Of course, you got to jump through some hoops, but if that's
Yeah,
what's important to you, you may have to ditch Apple Photos and move to Google Photos to get that feature.
and it's not that important to me, I don't care.
I can definitely see Apple eventually doing this
Mhm.
in their fiction, in their Google. in iCloud or Apple Photos,
Mhm.
I'll just wait on Apple.
Yeah.
But I
Mm,
definitely wanted to come.
yeah. I mean,
I'm
it's a
yeah.
cool trick for sure, but not worth to me at this point all the extra hoops you have to go through.
Yeah, because you would have to upload your pictures in there and then yada yada yada, so on and so
Yeah.
forth. All right, so the last story I have in second string. Speaking of Google, everybody's trying to figure out what they're going to do post COVID, if you can call that a thing. Most people, a lot of people, will still argue we're still in COVID era,
Absolutely.
but we're just handling
Pretending
it.
we're not.
Well, I was going to say we're handling it a little bit better with vaccines and with but there are people who's pretending we're not. But at any rate, a lot of companies, said, all right, during the pandemic, we're going to make everybody go home and you're going to work from home and remote. And we love our employees and we want them to feel safe and we want them to continue to collaborate. Do all your stuff and do it at home. Well, in this quote unquote post COVID, seems like these companies are bringing everybody back into the office, dragging, kicking, and screaming. Google is doing it as well, but they are doing something a little bit weirder, which is not weirder, but they went from, it seems like Google is going from me, if I was a Google employee, I had a cubicle or I had a desk, and then COVID hit and they sent me home. So I was working remote. And now Google is dragging everybody back into the office. But now I went from having a cube or a desk to Apple's new thing is they are going to have users start sharing desks. According to Google, matchmaking process will be used when matching people up to share desks to ensure a positive experience for everyone who is being forced to share a desk space. Again, an internal FAQ that CNBC got for quote unquote Google Cloud employees explains how employees in Kirkland, Washington, New York City, San Francisco, Seattle, and Sunnyvale, California will need to start sharing their desk with somebody else. According to Google, is being referred to as the Cloud Office Evolution, or Chloe, internally. So I just wanted to put that out there because it seems crazy that we went from I got my own cube to having my own home to actually having to come back into work and share a desk with somebody, quote unquote, in this post COVID air quotes society.
Isn't this just like hoteling? Or am I like being,
No, I
or is
don't
it
even think it's
something
hoteling
greater?
because hoteling is like I don't have a desk. Whenever my days are to come back into the office, I got
I
to
just
quote
find a desk and
unquote
sit there.
subscribe or, put my name on a desk or an office to sit there. This is like you're coming back into the office. The way I understand it, correct me if I'm wrong. The way I understand it is you have an assigned seat. You just so happen to share that desk with somebody else.
Oh.
So
So
you've got
you're
like a,
say so say if we were worked at Google. So and my days in the office were Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I would have the desk Monday, Wednesday, Friday. You come in on Tuesday, Thursday. So you would have it on Tuesday, Thursday. Yes? Maybe?
maybe not. The way I understood it as we got to come back into the office at least 3 days a week. It
Mhm.
doesn't say anything about being able to pick the days, but if me and you are there, Google has split our
Oh,
office
so
in
we're sitting
half.
together.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I'm
Yes.
completely reading this wrong because I'm thinking the whole point is we're going to minimize the amount of people that are in the office at the same time. They're just like, no, we're going to cram the same amount of people in the same space, but less space.
Let me
Because then we
read it.
got a long desk, a long
No, so
table.
I may be wrong. Let me make sure I'm gonna read this quote, this part from the story. With this feedback, we've developed our new rotational model, combining the best of pre-pandemic collaboration with the flexibility and focus we've all come to appreciate from remote work, while also allowing us to use our spaces more efficiently. So it sounds
What kind
like,
of word salad is that?
let me read another part. Of course, this only works if employees visit the office on specified days, but Google is planning a overflow drop-in space for anyone who makes the journey to the office on an unassigned day. So basically, it's there. If you coming in the office on unassigned day, you'll probably have to do a hoteling thing, where you have
Mhm.
to either sign up or find an available seat. But the rotational model, it sounds like if me and you are working in Google together, we rotate. So I'll be in the
Okay.
office on Tuesday. So it sounds like more like the thing you said.
Okay.
I
Okay,
come in the
that makes a
office.
little bit more sense.
Yeah, I come
Okay,
in the
I
office
get it.
Tuesday and Thursday. You come in the office Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, or Monday and Wednesday. And we're both off on Friday or whatever the case may be. And on the okay rare occasion we're both in the office at the same time. First come, first serve. I don't know.
Honestly, I would prefer just to split it because I have a certain level I want my chair to sit at. I may have my monitors turned a certain way. I may have like one of the continuous. Some people may want to have one that's horizontal. They may want to have it landscape. So you have to like keep flipping the desk around every single day. And what if someone's messy and they don't clean up after them? Oh
Yeah,
God.
that's my thing.
Oof.
I am a the way I work. But when I had an office, when I had a cubicle, I didn't have nothing there anyway because I
Right.
always operated as any day they can
I
come
could be
tap me
let
on the
go.
shoulder.
Yep.
So I don't decorate nothing. I bring my computer. I may have I used to have a one of those digital picture frames that you
Mm,
could put a little SD card in and load it up with
mhm,
some pictures. I put that there. I'd have my computer, keyboard and mouse, maybe some papers, and that was it. To where if
mhm.
somebody came and said, "Yo, we got to go," I could fit all my stuff in my bag and I could be out. And that's just how
Let
I
me grab my
rolled.
purse and roll.
There are some people who put kids artwork everywhere, and they have a whole foot thing that they do like little exercises while they're sitting
Mhm.
at the desk, and they got the
They're home away from home.
tchotchkes.
They got it
And
all set up. Yep.
yeah, and I can imagine somebody coming in the office or me coming behind somebody like that, and they got all of this crap because one thing people don't do, which is nasty, is they do not clean up after themselves.
And they're
And
not considerate after of other people.
yep, they got their
Oof.
monitor turned all sideways, and like you said, the desk is the
Coffee
chairs a different
ring from
level.
their tape from their coffee cup. Oof.
And then wipe
Can't
nothing down, so they got
oof.
crumbs all over the place.
Mm.
I can imagine this is going to be a mess. So
A mess. And we're still in COVID. We're still in flu season. So if people aren't, there's still germs that are just lingering if the person doesn't clean up. So in addition to having to reset your chair, reset your monitor, or any other type thing, you got to now wipe down the whole
and you got to
space.
spray it all down and wipe it all
Yeah.
down, and
Ugh, that sounds horrible.
yeah, buddy. But I mean, this is the world we live in. I was reading
Yes.
a story. I didn't put this in here, but Amazon is trying to get everybody to come back into work, and their employees ain't having it. They are pushing back. Let me see if I can find the story real quick. They are pushing back on the idea of coming back into work at all, to where they have 16,000 Amazon workers have joined a Slack channel and launched a petition to fight the CEO's mandate that people have to come back into the office. So it'll be interesting to see, especially with Amazon, who's always had problems as it relates to unions, as it relates to, how they treat employees,
Mm,
specifically the warehouse employees, right? Them people working all day long, got to pee in cups and got to run to the bathroom. And if somebody pass out, they just move somebody in that spot, but it seems like these are the engineers that are like, nah, these are the white collar workers that are like,
right.
nah, we ain't doing it. So they actually looks like they're either about to they launch a petition, so they may protest, they may
Hmm.
even unionize. But again, like I said, last Friday, the CEO of Amazon sent an internal company memo saying they need to be back in the office the majority of the time,
Mm.
adding would be at least 3 days a week. His justification was that when you're in person, people tend to be more engaged, observant, and attuned to what's happening in the meetings and the cultural clues being communicated. which that
Ugh,
sounds like a bunch of fluff anyway. But
bunch of
again,
BS. And the other thing is a lot of these tech companies sold these high paying, high tech jobs with all of these extra amenities, with all this
uh-huh.
flexibility, all of this, ooh, I work at tech giant A or tech giant B and I have all these benefits. It seems now that they are stripping a lot of the things that enticed people to come into the office. Is one thing to say, you know what, we're going to keep up the same level of amenities that we had before and bring you back in. But it sounds
And
like
oh, go ahead.
they're bringing you back in with these shared desk spaces with less amenities and expecting you to be happy about it. Like, what?
And less money, right? So, according
Yeah.
to this story, the return to office came as staff worried that they may see their income reduced by 50% below the company's compensation targets because Amazon stock has dropped 35% in the past year. The reason why that's important is because these employees that we're talking about, they get a chunk of their wages in restricted stock units. So you know
Mm.
that the whole thing. I remember,
RSUs.
yeah, watching people on YouTube or Twitter saying, when you are getting hired for a job, you make sure you say or advocate for to get your wages and stock options.
Mhm.
That's fine when the company's on the up. When the
Mhm.
company's on the down, your wages, your salary is in stock options. So you can
I don't
see
want your
your,
stock options. Give me that in cold hard cash because these stocks are
and let
bouncing
me
all over the place.
and let me decide. I don't think I've ever, any company I've ever worked at, they offer discounts for buying their stock. I'm like, nah, I'm good. Let me work with my financial advisor. Give me the things that I can pick from. Let me work with my financial advisor. Let him tell me what I need to invest in as far as the 401k and whatever. And I do that. There's very rarely been a company that to where they've offered discounts or that I just took it.
Yeah.
I'd roll the dice on myself.
Yeah. Because if I screw it up, then okay, sure, I
Yep.
can be
Yep.
a little annoyed at myself. But if you
Right.
mess up my money,
Yep.
then we
Yep.
got a problem.
We got a problem. Yep. Absolutely. All right. That's all I had for second string. We're gonna move over into for the culture, and I think you got another teching while black. So we'll go ahead and let you give us the lowdown on that.
Absolutely. In our last Teching While Black segment of 2023 for Black History Month, we are going to stick with what we like to call hidden figures. I actually found this particular person from the Twitter account of Girls Who Code. And the person that we're highlighting, her name is Ray Montague. She is the person who they consider as the revolutionary of the design of naval ships.
Mm-hmm.
She was the first female program manager of ships for the US Navy, and she was the first person to ever design a ship on a computer. So, that's great. That's fantastic. And we are truly, that's amazing. She ultimately was inducted into the Arkansas Women's Hall of Fame. She was also awarded the Navy's Meritorious Civil Service Award. But what I want to specifically highlight as it relates to her, it goes to show just how much more difficult it is for Black people and Black women in particular for this person to succeed in these type of spaces. She was one of those hidden figures, how we found out about Katherine Johnston, Dorothy Vaughan, those ladies that were in the movie. This
Mm-hmm.
woman did not get her recognition until uh until a book came out, a Hidden Figures book come out. So the thing that I think is the most interesting about this, I'm going to pull it up because so she ended up graduating from what is now University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff because with a degree in business, because
Mm-hmm.
at the time when she was getting graduating high school going to go to college, the engineering program, which she wanted to be an engineer, she was not able to go to the University of Arkansas that had the only engineering program because it did not admit Black students at the time. So she ultimately got into the Navy working as a clerk typist, and she took computer science courses at night. And while she was doing that, she happened to be seated with next to the department where they used computers and where they did those types of design. And she learned how to do this by watching her male Ivy League coworkers run the computer. And at the time, she said that she wasn't allowed to use a computer, quote, because we weren't supposed to touch the computer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I was from Arkansas. And so apparently one day, all the engineers were out sick, and she ended up having to take over their work by running the machine by herself.
Mm-hmm.
So she did the work by watching them, not even being able to touch it. And she did such a good job. She ultimately got a promotion to work on engineering products from her manager, but he didn't want to give that to her. And she could only do that job if she worked the night shift. So, meaning she
Mm-hmm.
couldn't work with
While
the
everybody
male
else is working
counterparts,
on it,
right, who
yeah,
was doing the same
collaborating.
thing. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So it goes even deeper than that. So during that time, during the night shift, she didn't, of course, there was no public transportation, and she couldn't drive. So she ended up buying her a 1949 Pontiac and had to teach herself how to drive. And she worked nights until she got the promotion. So eventually she was promoted, appointed to computer system analyst, and she continued to excel. So the other thing that happened was she came up with a design, a way to design a naval ship using a computer. Her boss didn't mention the department had been trying to do this but
Unsuccessful.
were
Right.
unsuccessful. So she ended up having to tear down one of the Navy's computers and rebuild it. So after months and months of doing this, trying to figure it out, she was able to do it when they weren't. So after she proved it was possible, they were like, okay, cool. Now that you've proven you could do this, we're going to let you do it. And it normally takes 2 years to
Mm-hmm.
produce this type of design on paper.
Mm-hmm.
They gave her a month to finish it. So they
So
only
they
said,
so
so
they crunched her down. It's like, all right, well,
from
normally it
two
take two
years to a
years.
month.
We gonna challenge you. We gonna push it down to a month.
Right. So she ended up doing it in 18 hours and 56 minutes. So after they had, you can't do it, then you can only
Mm-hmm.
do it at night.
We're gonna give you these
Then,
ridiculous constraints.
right, we're going to give you these ridiculous constraints. They ultimately had to, give her one of the Navy's highest awards because of the work she was able to do. So ultimately, she was able to kind of move up the line and become a program director. She became the deputy program manager of the Navy's Information Systems Improvement Program. She was ultimately inducted, like I said, into the Arkansas Women's Hall of Fame. But again, she
They
only
forgot
just
about
got
her.
rep.
Mm-hmm.
She was a, hidden figure, much like, the ladies from the movie. And it's one of those things. These are the type of historical things that, Black people are doing and contributing to the society. They were doing this, trying to do this, and they weren't able to. And she was able to do it in a cup to, prove the proof
In
of
half the
concept
time,
in half the time and
with
get
almost
it
no
done.
resources.
Right. And get it done when it normally takes 2 years. She was
Mm-hmm.
able to do it in 18
Under
hours. So what's
right,
that like? Not even a full work week, maybe 2 work days. She
18
was able to.
hours. That's a day. That's less than a day. This is
Yeah,
finished design in
I was thinking
18
kind of like
hours.
an 8 hour
Oh,
workday.
eight
But
hour
yeah,
blocks. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, so she was still able to do that. But the thing is, I bring this all up to say, especially as we close out Black History Month and we see what's going on with
Florida. That's what I
this
was gonna say.
Florida, this
Uh huh.
whole CRT stuff.
Uh
These are the
huh.
type of things that they don't want taught, even though it's history, even though it's documented. It's the things that it's already hard enough to do these, but then when you put all these additional roadblocks in
Mm-hmm.
front of Black folks, brown folks,
Mm-hmm.
and they
Mm-hmm.
still excel, it just goes to show that were the playing field truly level, how much more advanced our society would be, and honestly, how much more better off we would be as a whole society and as Black and brown people. So it just goes to show that the talent, the gift, and the actual work is done and out there. We just don't get the acknowledgement until someone goes digging into the crates to find it. So I definitely wanted to, you know, give the props to Miss Ray Montague for her work that she was able to do in revolutionizing, you know, naval ships that we use to go into battle now.
Right, right. So yeah, you said what I was going to say, but extra special props to her because reading this thing that you put up here, she, according to the story, she climbed the Navy's civilian ladder, becoming the program director of integrated design, manufacturing, maintenance, the division head for the computer aided design and computer aided manufacturing program, which is what I started in. I started in tech and I went to school for computer aided drafting and computer aided manufacturing. That was my actual first start in technology. And basically what we use is what she pioneered was
Mhm.
using a computer to design things. So I get,
Before it was just pencil and paper, drafting paper,
yep,
sitting at a
for
drafting
at
table,
a drafting board, with angles and all these tools.
rulers. Yeah.
She helped pioneer being able to do all that via computer. And then again, another thing, like you mentioned, it just goes to show that not only is this stuff not taught, not a part of American history, the little that is a part of American history right now in 2023, they are actively trying to remove it. Stop it from being taught. The little stuff that is out there. Imagine if not only were people trying to suppress the little that's out there, like you mentioned, imagine if we did integrate more of this knowledge into American history. It would set a whole, not even, I'm not even talking about shoulda, woulda, couldas, right?
Mm.
I'm not talking about imagine what could have happened if black folks was properly integrated into American society, how far off we would be. That's clearly just
Obvious.
from movies like this, from Hidden Figures, from all the other things that we've had a hand in from slavery up until now, right? We know shoulda, woulda, coulda, we would have been much farther off. But just imagine if that stuff was taught right now
Mm.
to kids in general, not just black kids, white
All
kids, any,
kids
right. It would
and adults too
tell
at this point.
it would tell the whole picture, not just a piece, not just a part, not just a curated version of American history. And I think I don't know why people are so scared. It's a rhetorical
You know
question,
why? Yeah.
but it's just amazing the links that America and the powers that be in America have went to keep these people like Ray Montague subservient. And then once we actually finally do get to a place where we black folks, specifically black women, are graduate from college at a higher rate than anybody, there are active agents right now trying to suppress that. And it's just crazy.
Yeah. It's so crazy.
Yeah. So, all right. I think we're going to leave it there for the culture. I was going to talk about R. Kelly, but who cares? He got 20 more years in prison. So, good luck to you,
Weinstein got
homie.
60 and Weinstein got 16 more years for those contrarian people who say
Right.
only black people
Right.
get the
Right.
harshest treatment. Same
Yeah,
day.
yeah, you're right, right. So both of them. So America as a whole, we despise pedophiles.
And
So
rapists.
and rapists, regardless of what creed, color. So quit
Yeah.
using. They be attacking black men, but what about the white man? They got Weinstein's butt too.
They got
Yeah,
him too.
both of them dudes will spend the rest of their life in prison with
Yeah.
no chance of getting out. So
Right.
there, that's what I was gonna say. All right, so that is it for the culture. We're gonna move into for the hookup. So this is not a tech thing. For my birthday, my wife bought me it's called a Bartesian cocktail maker, and basically what it is, think of a Keurig machine to
For your coffee.
where, yeah, for your coffee. Wake up in the morning, you get a little K cup is what they call them, with all the
Hmm.
different coffee blends and the different flavors. You put it in the machine, you close the thing, you press a button, and it spits out coffee. Well, this cocktail maker does the exact same thing, but instead of coffee, it does it for drinks. The one I got, there's different sizes, but the one I got gives you four kind of containers,
You got the
and you,
big one.
yeah. It's got, I put whiskey in one, I put vodka in one, I put rum in one, and then
Mm.
tequila in one, and they all sit alongside this little machine. And I'll put it on the, we put a link in the show notes so you can check it out. And basically what you do is you fill up these containers, like they look like big water bottles, and you fill them up with the different alcohols, and then you can go buy these like little cups. I don't know why I'm doing this with my fingers on the video. They're little K cups to where you put them down in the machine. You, based on the machine, it has the mix. It has the mix of stuff. So it's got bitters. It's got, you know, all the different type of
So
mixes
say
that
if you
you
want to
use
make
to.
an old fashioned, you just
Yeah,
put
if
the
you
old
want,
fashioned pot in
you
there,
put the
right?
old fashioned pot in there. You shut it down. You tell it, do you want it to be light? You want it to be strong? You want it to be medium? Do you want it to be just a what do you call the things without
Mocktail.
the alcohol? Mocktail? That's what you call it. Yeah, with the mocktail. And you press the button, mixes it all up automatically, spits out the drink. All you got to do is put a glass and some ice, mix it up, and you're good to go. So I thoroughly enjoy it. Makes it super easy to make a drink after a long day. You know, me and my wife sometimes sit up and do movie night. You know, all we got to do is go downstairs. You don't have to shake nothing. You don't have to pour nothing. You don't have to measure nothing based
You just
on
have
the
to
different
decide what you
alcohols.
want to drink.
Just decide you want to drink, put the little cup in the top, make how strong you want it to do, press the button, spits it all out. All you got to do is maybe stick your finger in there and mix it up, and you're good. So I just wanted to put that out there. It ain't cheap now, but at the same time, it's worth it, especially if you're not on, if you're a social drinker to where you drink maybe once a week, maybe, you do, like I said, me and my wife do in-house date nights. You know, if you got some friends over, especially you got some friends over,
Mm-hmm.
and you quickly want to make some drinks, you can actually put those cups in there and get it going. So that's my hookup for the week. It is the Bartesian Premium Cocktail and Margarita Machine and Home Bar. And my wife even got
Nice.
me the little drawer that sits on under the machine to where you pull out the drawer and all the little
All the little cups are lined up.
yeah,
Nice.
lines up in there. So that is my hookup for the week. I definitely enjoy it. Like I said, I really don't tell you anything unless I actually use it. So if you
Mm.
definitely decide to check it out, we've got a link in the show notes to directly to Amazon, so where you can purchase that. So that is my hookup for the week. Nica, if you don't have anything else, I think that is going to do it for this week's show. I haven't decided what we're going to do next week. Like we mentioned in our pre-show, Nica is going to be out next week doing her travel thing for your birthday.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So not sure what we're going to do. May have a guest. I may do a solo. I don't need an excuse to have a break, so we may not do anything at all. But
Stay
we'll see.
tuned.
We'll see how I feel. Definitely for our Patreon supporters, we'll let you know ahead of time what I plan on doing. If you again want to be a Patreon supporter, if you want to learn more about the show, if you want to listen to the episodes, if you want to follow us on social media, you can find all that information by going to snoboscast.com. You can find us on Twitter and Instagram at snobOS.com. But Nica, tell the folks where they can find you.
You can find me at Tech Savvy Diva everywhere. And next week, you may just get a little peek into where I am in the world.
Yeah, I try not to make people, specifically women, tell me where they're going, because
Yep.
they can be dangerous nowadays,
Yep.
so you always want to leave little breadcrumbs or tell people where you went after you came back,
After. Yep.
because folks is crazy out there like that. So yeah,
For
definitely
real.
follow Tech Savvy Diva on all the things and get her travel journeys. But until next week or the week after, we are out. Peace.
Bye, everybody.